Everything you're about to hear comes straight from public records, Texas Supreme Court rulings, legislative archives, and investigative reporting from across the state. Nothing here is rumor, nothing is personal accusation. Texas likes to say it's a place where you can build the life you want, a place where land and opportunity give ordinary families a chance at a better life. But for a lot of Texans, that promise cracks the moment their homes do. This is Marque, Texas. It's a small city off the Gulf, and just the kind of place where people buy homes because they're told it's a good place to settle down. And this is what Ashley Frazier came home to. In 2021, at just 25 years old, Ashley Frazier, a critical care nurse who had worked through the worst days of the pandemic, did something millions of young Texans dream of doing. She bought her first home, and she bought it from Lennar, one of the biggest, most powerful home builders in America. For the first year and a half, everything seemed fine. Then, sometime in late 2023, something changed. Ashley noticed the light fixtures started filling with water, then the microwave began fogging up on a daily basis, and Ashley, a young nurse who knew what moisture and mold could do to the human body, felt something was very wrong. Concerned about the state of her house, she climbed up into the attic and found everything wet and soaked with moisture. With the house still under warranty, she contacted Lennar immediately. Lennar sent an HVAC tech, then a mold inspector. When Ashley asked whether he would check behind the walls because moisture seemed to be traveling downward, he told her that that was not part of their protocol.
So I asked, are y'all gonna check behind the walls? Because it seems like the condensation has come down the walls and the mold started growing out of the cabinets. And he said, oh no, that's not part of the protocol. And that's whenever the red flags went off in my head.
Lennar's official report said everything looked normal. No major issues, nothing alarming. Case closed. But Ashley was getting sick. She was experiencing respiratory issues, and when she went to the doctor, a chest x-ray showed a nodule. A scar tissue was forming in her lung, so she stopped trusting reassurances from Lennar and trusted her instincts instead. She hired her own mold inspector, someone who would look behind the walls. What he found was shocking. Ashley's brand new home had a mold concentration measured at 2.2 million spores per cubic meter, one of the highest the inspector had ever seen. He deemed the house unsafe, uninhabitable. She moved out immediately, and then came the part most Texans don't know about. The part that feels a lot like a cage many new homeowners find themselves trapped in. Ashley's lawyer said that Texas law requires homeowners to conduct an exhaustive investigation, pay for expert reports out of pocket, and hand all of that evidence to the builder before they can ever step foot in a courtroom. To understand how Ashley and thousands of Texans just like her ended up in this system, we have to go back to the first cracks in the foundation of homeowner rights in Texas. It starts in 1968 with a Texas case called Humber versus Morton. At its core was a simple idea. When you buy a brand new house, the builder owes you basic safety, a promise, an implied warranty that your home won't fall apart under you. And that ruling mattered, because it leveled the playing field, even just a little. It acknowledged that most families don't have the money or the expertise to inspect every inch of a new house. And so Texas courts stepped in, telling the public that the builder is responsible and the homeowner is protected. Then, in 1983, the Texas Supreme Court reaffirmed that protection in another case, Gupta versus Ritter. It said homeowners couldn't simply sign away their rights. Even if a contract tried to stack the deck in the builder's favor, the law still stood with the homeowner. For a while, Texas courts were the safety net. Not perfect, but a place where an ordinary family could stand up to a powerful builder and have the court's support. But the 1990s brought change. Home building associations, industry PACs, and major developers began investing heavily in the political landscape. Nothing hidden, nothing illegal, but session after session, familiar ideas kept returning. Ideas about limiting lawsuits, ideas about tort reform, ideas about making it harder and more expensive for homeowners to challenge construction defects. And slowly, the protections Humber and Gupta created began to thin. Then in 2003, those ideas became an agency, the Texas Residential Construction Commission. On paper, it was a neutral referee, a way to resolve disputes without going to court. But the reality didn't match the pitch. Homeowners discovered the TRCC was slow, confusing, and tilted in favor of builders. The agency was reviewed in 2008 by the state's own oversight body. Their conclusion was that the TRCC was fundamentally flawed. They found that the agency operated more like an industry concierge than a consumer advocate. It gave the appearance of help to families and homeowners, but without offering much aid at all. Many homeowners reported delays, restarted cases, living in damaged homes because the process dragged on for months. According to a 2006 survey, 86% got no builder response even after defects were verified. For many, the extra inspections, mediation, and wait time stretched months and sometimes over a year. Families said they felt trapped and caught in a system that offered them no real path out. In 2009, just 6 years after it began, the TRCC was shut down. On the surface, it looked like a broken system finally being corrected, but underneath, the structure it created stayed very much alive. The RCLA, the backbone of the TRCC era, didn't go away. And this law wasn't about determining whether a home was defective or whether a builder acted responsibly. It was about procedure, a very strict, very technical procedure homeowners must follow before filing a lawsuit. If they miss a deadline, forget a notice, file the wrong piece of paperwork, courts can throw out their claims entirely. The defect doesn't matter, the impact on their lives doesn't matter, only the process. And while all of this happened, the Deceptive Trade Practices Act, once the strongest consumer tool in Texas, began shrinking. With new exemptions and new limitations, it meant less recourse for families trying to hold builders accountable. When you step back, the pattern becomes clear, and all those pieces form the bars of a structure that most Texans never realized they were living inside. And after 2009, the courts stepped back into the story, but not the way homeowners hoped, because right after the TRCC fell, another case emerged. One family, one home, one builder, and a verdict unlike anything Texas had ever seen. But the system that shaped this outcome extends far beyond a single builder or a single dispute. In part 2, we examine how this legal framework became the norm and why so many Texas homeowners find themselves with nowhere to turn.